It's me again, Tisha Monet, the host of Alchemy of Thought, and welcome to another episode. I am so happy to kick off season 2, dropping like so many gems. Let's dive a little bit deeper to what causes self-transformation into mental alchemy. What's going on, everybody? It is your girl Tisha Monet, and I am here with another episode of Alchemy of Thought. I am in the presence of Negrows by Nature. We're about to peel back some of these layers of what it is that they do, how they give back to the community, and we're just going to start off by introducing yourself. So go ahead and let the viewers know who you are and what it is that you do.
Sure. My name is Ash, and I'm one half of Negrows by Nature. Sorry, I was going to say I'm a Kundalini yoga instructor, I'm a writer, and I just love being outdoors.
Nice, beautiful.
Peace, everyone. My name is Shuja. I'm the other half of Negrows by Nature. I'm a farmer, chef. My main focus is education, agriculture, economics. Why? Because it supports the 3 basic essential needs for humans, which is food, clothing, and shelter. So anything dealing with sustainability and survival, I'm all about. Hiking, outdoor areas, camping, do-it-yourself techniques, just anything dealing with the earth.
Nice, beautifully said. Okay, so Negroes by Nature. The first thing I thought of was naughty by nature, right? I know it's like a play on that too, but I know that there's some significance behind it. So can you share with us, where did this name come from?
Yeah, so I first thought of the name back in like 2015. We were out, I was out at Prospect Park near like I believe it's like I don't know if it's a duck pond or there's some swans there. Well, at the time, I'm not sure if they're still there. But I was there and I saw these beautiful swans, and then right near the swans, there was like a group of young men, and they were like smoking, and it just was like a cool visual picture to see. And when I saw it, like I immediately thought like, oh, look at these like Negroes by Nature. And just the writer in me, when I went home later, I just kept thinking about that phrase, and then I was like, oh, Negroes grow by nature, Negroes by nature. And so that always stuck with me, and I knew that I would use it someday. I didn't know how, but thankfully we found a way to apply it to something that we love. So yeah.
Nice. So what was so that was like the seed that sparked the name. What was the seed that kind of made this turn into a business? Like, how did that happen?
Okay, so like we used to go on dates a lot, and a lot of spots that we still do.
You guys were on a date. We had our meeting before this.
That's true.
But so a lot of the areas we used to go was outdoor areas and hikes, a lot of different hikes, and we would go to different places in Jersey. And different places would have different views, different sites, different things to do. And each time we would go out there, we would take pictures, we would post it on social media. People would ask us, some of my boys, my people would call me, family would call me, ask us where we at. Same thing with her. And they just heard it so often, so then, she wanted to open it up more. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's open up more for more people to come. And from there, we just started adding people. And then it was a small group, and then it just started growing and growing and growing.
Nice,
right?
Organically.
Yeah, organically, yeah.
Nice. So you two, I'm taking this from your website, you curate spiritual experiences and nature as a means to encourage the spiritual, emotional, and physical growth of our people, melanated people, right?
That's right.
Can you give examples of how these experiences enable growth for each of those components? How does nature, help that?
Well, definitely in nature, you're dealing with, when you out in nature, automatically you're gonna be dealing with a lot of different types of energies, the elements. So just seeing how that connects is important, and how we make it connect is like through the spiritual, the unseen, you know what I'm saying? The unseen, the feelings, the emotions, you know what I'm saying? All the unseen energy and things you can't see, from, even if we want to take it deeper, like on the level of the people who inhabited that land before we was there. Like certain trails and certain places, they got the native lands and the native people of that land. Their energy still is reminiscent and is still vibrant in them places. That could deal with the spiritual component on one level. The emotional. Emotion is just energies in motion. You put it together, energies in motion. So the energies in motion that's moving around, the rivers. And when you're outside, a lot of everything is living. Like all outside life is living. So like even the rivers have life in it. It's living. You know what I'm saying? The energies in that motion. The earth, it has life. Life comes from it. The energies in that motion. The wind that's blowing, the things that's moving within the wind, there's still life forms. So just seeing how we could connect more with these elements, we're helping people to do that. They bring up their own experiences, but it's a joyful thing. It's a joyful connection when we could relate them type of elements and those type of categories to just being outside in nature and just walking and being amongst things that are growing.
Beautifully said. And what about you? Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I totally agree with Shuja. I just think, for you to be able to hear yourself and to know who you truly are is very important for you to be outdoors in nature and not just play nature like how they create parks in the cities. It's important for us to get outside, be outside in a real forest, be with the land, and it's like magical. Like you can give all of your stress, all of your worries back to the land. You go into the forest feeling a type of way, you come out feeling joyful, so I just think it's important for folks, especially people that live in the inner city, to disconnect, to know what it feels like to go home and to be able to really rest and not just go to sleep, but to actually really, really rest,
That actually ties into my next question. So we live in a fast-paced, artificially intelligent society, right? With our phones, smart TVs, our cars. What can happen to a person on a mental, spiritual, and physical plane who never take the time to tap into nature? Like, what are some of the disadvantages to not taking the moment to disconnect, as you say?
Yeah.
I'll say it. I'll jump in. Well, when you it's so much because like nowadays in today's time, like you kind of forced in a way to use this technology.
I see. Yeah.
So like it's gonna have its uses, but if we really do some research and we really look up some facts and we really find out what's going on behind like technology and how it affects us, there are a lot of disconnections with it as it relates to human beings. Like just the amount of times that we keep our head down. Like I'm just gonna bring a few examples of like how it like disconnects with us. Just bring your head down like that. So much time to look on the phone. Our neck area right here, it's not receiving the right posture. We don't keep it's unhealthy to our body. Eye strength, you know what I'm saying? Eye straining, I should say. And I speak personally for that because that's one of the things that affect my eyes. So always looking at these blue screens, blue screens. How much time we look at our phone? How much time we look at our phone during the day, during the hour? You know what I'm saying? Just how much time is it even taking up? And then you realize throughout the day you do a review, a reflection, and you just retrospect and see, damn, how many times do I open my phone during the day?
Yes.
It's not.
And you do it subconsciously too. Like literally you bored, your hand just has to do something. It just reaches for it.
It's not charging. That could lead to anxiety. I gotta charge my phone. It's gonna die. It just makes us depend on it more. And when we depend on these physical devices more, then we're less dependent on nature, which has been here longer than these phones will ever be here.
Absolutely. So that's the physical aspect of it. The eyes, the straining of the eyes, the back, the neck posture. Then what about mentally and spiritually? How does that? How can that be a disadvantage for someone who never disconnects from technology? Yeah,
I think mentally and spiritually. It makes me think of my mom. So I grew up in Newark, New Jersey on 14th Avenue in a three-story home. And so we lived on the second floor, and my mother's bedroom on the second floor was right where the electrical poles were. So for 25 years, she's sleeping right next to these electrical poles, And so my mother was a very anxious woman, a very stressed woman. She was always on edge, and she often, you would find her just getting so frustrated and not really knowing how to
like articulate maybe?
Not
How she was feeling?
not knowing how to articulate how she was feeling, just allowing her anger to get the best to her.
Gotcha.
You know, and so I think of that, and she's developed cancer over time or whatever, and so I think of that and those electrical wires that were outside of her bedroom all these years. And then also when we think of the internet that's within our homes, the internet is usually never off,
Yes.
you know? So if we're constantly surrounded by the internet and these electrical wires, I'm talking more so for folks that are in the inner city, we never are able to unplug. So that's why when I mentioned earlier about we're not often able to get sleep, to get good rest. We go to sleep, but we're not getting rest.
Yes.
And so when we go out into nature, it allows us to basically recharge ourselves mentally, recharge ourselves spiritually. We often think that we have to do so much to be spiritual or to recharge ourselves mentally and spiritually, you know, but when you go out into nature, you realize that you don't have to do anything, just be.
That is so beautiful. Yes. Okay, just be. So holistically, right? Let's talk about like the holistic aspect of being out in nature. How has it been proven, holistically speaking, has it been proven that people can reverse mental dis-ease or other ailments by being out in nature? Like you mentioned, like how your mom was always anxious, right? How do you feel like that could have possibly reversed that really just by being out in nature?
Yeah, I think just having a space to be still, having a space to know that I don't have to do anything but just be here. I can only walk, I can run if I want to, I can skip, but you don't have anywhere to go. So I think just allowing herself to be still would have provided wonders for her mental,
mind.
emotional, spiritual.
Just at ease and just not think about her responsibilities and you know her children. You know, let her just be who she was in that moment and disconnect and really ease some of that anxiety. I can definitely understand that. What about you? Do you have any other do you know of anything ways that it can reverse mental dis-ease and everything?
I'm just out there, like experience. I say experience is the best teacher. Like there's an African proverb that goes, you learn how to cut down trees by cutting them down. And that always just stuck with me. So like you really just out there in the work, doing the work, and you really get the experience. And with the mental stability, it's definitely a slowdown in a good way. It's a recharge. Like y'all was just talking about the Wi-Fi, like it made me think about just connecting to natural Wi-Fi in nature, recharging yourself, replanting your feet in the soil, grounding yourself. You know what I'm saying? Being with the running waters, you know what I'm saying? Just sun gazing. Like naturally Wi-Fi, naturally connecting yourself. You can do it out there in nature, you know what I'm saying? Tapping into the herbs, the medicine, the plants, all of that is out there for us. We just gotta remember. But with the mental, like, it also helps with the slowdown. What I mean with that in a good way is that, like, there's so much going on out here in the inner cities, in society, in this environment that, like, it's fast paced. 9 to 5s, work, transportation, noise, sirens. It's just so much to, like,
stimulation.
So much stimulation that it's hard. So when you're actually in nature, you get a chance to just reset and your mind just ease and it just works with it. Even like just an example, like with the vision, like, after like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock outside in nature, it's not really no street light. It's no street light, so it gets dark. Your body just adjusts to that. So like the experience, when I say being out there, you just gotta be out there and experience it because your body's gonna naturally reset. We all got something called a circadian rhythm or a biological clock, which means like during the certain days and during the certain times, your body will be doing certain functions. So just reconnecting with nature and resting at the time you're supposed to rest. Waking up, sun gaze, and hearing these natural sounds. Like, we've been so far removed from that, and none of us is like really foreign to that. That's all for all of us, you know what I'm saying? So just with the mental thing and just like a reset and slowing down and just actually being out there, like, you could definitely help with the dis-eases of the mind.
Beautifully said. So speaking for the benefits, right, that can occur, are there different benefits for a man versus a woman and vice versa? Like, is there something like going out into nature and planting your feet in the soil? Are there certain benefits that a woman would receive as opposed to a man and vice versa?
You want to start?
Whoever want to go first, don't all speak.
Okay, well, for the man, I haven't really I don't know. I wouldn't say like, I mean, for me speaking, I notice like, I guess, you know, I am a man. I mean, me speaking, I feel like I just take in, I just take in, like, I'm observant. Like,
Okay.
I mean, it makes, I'm on a calm. It helps me calm, like, it helps me just observe. I just take it indifferently. But I mean, I will say adding to that then, I just led a hike about a few days ago for brothers, a hike for men. And being out there with them, it just made us it made us share more with each other. It made us express more with each other.
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. Being out in nature.
Yeah, it made us share more,
kind of tap into your feminine side a little bit.
Yeah, tap into our feminine side because we all have, you know, the feminine and the masculine. So it does help us. Yes, thank you. You worded it correctly. It helps us tap into our feminine more. That's what it does for them.
That's beautiful.
Because we express ourselves, we share an emotion, we just more open, and we not like that on the outside in this concrete jungle, in the concrete forest, like you know what I'm saying. So when we out there, it just helps. You know, we seeing the beautiful flowers, we seeing the birds, we see just nature expressing itself. I guess the reflection helps us reflect ourselves as well.
That's beautiful, beautiful. And what about you? Did you notice anything for women that changes, or just within yourself as a woman?
Yeah, as you brought that up, it made me think of, you know, for women, one importance of us being out in nature is to ground ourselves, actually having our feet on the ground. You know, back in the day, our ancestors, they would, you know, have to go, and still some places, you know, go walk to get water, carry it up the hill. For those of us that live in the cities, that's not our life usually. Yeah. So, you know, grounding yourself is important even for when we're giving birth. We were giving birth and we were squatting. So I think just being out in nature, for both men and women, but for women in particular, is a way to help us ground ourselves, you know, and also ground ourselves to stand in our purpose. You know, oftentimes women, I can only speak for myself as a woman. I find myself doubting myself often and not being able to stand firmly in my purpose, whereas men are usually taught to mold it, to have like a lot of confidence and to go after challenges and things like that. So I think being out in nature for women, it helps to ground us and have our feet firmly planted in the ground.
Yes,
so, yeah.
be firm in our purpose.
Yes.
And be being grounded and stuck to that. Beautiful, yes. Beautiful. Okay, so what is the most beneficial and meaningful part about being in nature for you specifically? Like just for Suja, right? Yeah. What does it mean for you?
I could go so long with it, but for me, it's just so seeing the birds, like just the visuals. That's one thing. The visuals,
okay.
Like I seeing more birds now. I'm just seeing more birds, different colors, different types, making me learn more about them. And even that, like, it's so much knowledge in the little things out there. There's so much knowledge. Like, for example, like when we see birds, but you can learn so much about them and about nature and about where you are through which way they're flying, through the times and the days that they're chirping, through when they go down to swoop down to eat something. And just different animals as well. Like even if you spot like a squirrel that come out, like maybe they only come out at certain times during the day and you see it and you know what time. So just helping me to learn how to live more on the land and with the land, like just the visuals.
And I was gonna say that actually feels like with learning the animals, you learn how to facilitate through nature because you're learning like times of the day. Oh, this means this is happening because this animal is doing this. So that makes me feel like that's what our ancestors did.
Of
right?
course.
So that kind of helps you bring yourself closer to them. Like you know, that's beautiful. Okay.
Even like squirrels, they plant trees. They plant oak trees. How? When they hide their nuts, sometimes they forget, and then trees grow from there.
Okay.
Birds, they grow plants in different trees and bushes as well. How? When they eat it and when they shit in different places. When they eat in little things and they shit in different places and it just travels and it goes like that. The wind, just naturally the wind, just blowing the branch seeds, the flower seeds at different places. So just learning about nature, just so beautiful. The sun and the moon and the stars, I'm learning more about that and the planets. Like we just came out of a Mercury retrograde, if anybody's into the astrological realm. So it's just a lot, you know what I'm saying? And we learning more, and I'm learning more through nature. So I'm just, the amazing thing for me is just how much you can learn out there and then just being out there and just
Nice.
experiencing
Yes,
that.
just
the
being out there
fullness.
and experiencing
the fullness
it.
Of, yeah.
And what about you, Ash? What's the most beneficial or meaningful for you?
Yeah, I would say for me, being in nature, just not having to do anything, you know.
Oh, that part.
I think, yeah, not having to do anything or try too hard. I think like within the marketplace that we're in today with like spirituality, it's like you gotta meditate, you gotta do yoga, you gotta do this. And I feel like just being in nature allows me to see like I don't have to try hard to do anything to heal myself and to make myself, you know, adjust from feeling one way to another. And you know, when we first started dating, my mom was super sick. And then she eventually transitioned, and we would go hiking all the time, and I was super sad. But then every time we went hiking and I would go in, I would feel so much better, you know? So,
Lifted.
yeah,
Yes,
so I think just the simplicity of just healing without having to do much.
Okay, wonderful. So, what are some of the misconceptions of being in nature and what it does for us spiritually compared to like religion? Because you know how everyone says like when you feel in a certain way, you pray, right? You pray. But how does like sometimes just going out into nature and just feeling the wind underneath your arms and just like it literally taking some of that energy away from you? How can you compare that to religion? And what would you say to people who have kind of like have that stigma against it?
I was thinking about something similar to that, and it's actually helps because it goes into that. Like when we deal with like religion, spirituality, and the different forms of what do you say, like worship, prayer, existence, like spirit, like that, right? When you're dealing with the different forms of life and the unseen and the seen, we gotta know ourselves. I think that's one thing. We gotta know ourselves and know what we like and know what works for us. Like for example, for me, like through learning and just like all the like a lot of different schools of thought and even with the spiritual systems, like for me, it's nature. Like that's my religion and spirituality. It's just nature. Like because the living things, like for example, the elements, earth, wind, water, fire, those is like what I would like not pray to, but like give a lot of thanks and reverence and hold like a lot of like high value towards. Because even when you like, let's just break it down on a simple level real quick or like a deep level, like when you deal with certain spiritual systems, certain ones, like you will have I don't want to go too long, but basically you'll have like okay,
Speak,
basically you'll have like different aspects of the higher one, of the most high or of the divine. Yeah, different aspects of the divine. So certain spiritual systems, you have like the divine showing itself through the grasses, through the water, through the fire, through thunder, through hunting, through different forms of life, right? So for me, I find these elements in all like in damn near all of like spiritual systems or even in religion. Like you'll find earth, wind, water, fire. Like none, you will always see that. You will always find that, no matter like what you worshiping, praying to, what you hold value for, and those will always be here. None can work without the other. They in our body, they in the world, like, you know what I'm saying? So I see that and I know that, and that works for me. I know that it's real. I know that it exists. It's not anything that we could be like, I don't know if that exists or not. No, we know that fire exists. We could see that. We know that water, you know, in a wind, the air, we can see that in the earth, which holds us in. So I really hold value in those things, and life comes from and around these things as well. So for me, that's how I would tie the religion to the being out in nature, and you know, and just seeing these things in its forms and knowing that it's here. All of these elements is here. Like I can go here, be amongst the water. I could go be amongst the fire. I could breathe in, take yoga, meditation, be around the air, the earth, the prana. So, you know, I'm a farmer. I'm always around the earth. So, you know, planting and that's what works for me and how I make it connect. Through just knowing that these avenues of higher vibration of divine is here too. And it's not foreign to anybody. We all could enjoy it as well. That's how I see it personally.
Okay, no, beautiful, beautiful. What about you, Ash?
I agree.
Yeah?
I agree. Yeah, like God is nature, God is change, like all of that. And we see change in nature constantly. So I don't know, when you out there, you just gotta experience it.
Yeah.
You know
like
what
you said, you gotta. What was the phrase that you said?
You learn how to cut down trees by cutting down trees.
Yes. You just gotta go out and do it.
Yeah.
And you spoke about being a farmer and everything. Can you share what that experience is like, and why is it so important for especially a black man to know how to grow their own food? Like that's a great life.
Yeah.
Like I'm jealous. Can you teach me? Because like to learn how to do something like that.
Well, I say when you feed yourself, essentially you free yourself. Because if you don't, we kind of dependent on somebody else in some type of way. Like so being a farmer is a beautiful thing. I just came into it. I said I actually like really holding more value to it, like in the past 2-3 years, really holding more value to it, but simply still just letting people know, hey, I'm a farmer, that's it. But even that thing right there holds a lot of value, as simple as it is, because without no farmers, no food, simple and plain. Unless you want genetically modified food, unless you want laboratory food, that's the other way to go. But with the farming, it's a beautiful thing, because I just know that I will be around for life. I know how to work with this land, like with this earth. No matter where I go, I'll be good on that level.
Yes.
So farming is sustainable. It's life sustainable. I just started a program for young youth, for young boys. I don't got the shirt on. Higher apprenticeship program. Where every Monday and Wednesday we teaching young youth how to farm, how to landscape, and how to use natural resources to enhance their quality of life. So it's a beautiful thing. A lot of people are jumping more to it. And through this whole pandemic thing going on, like you see prices of vegetables and food commodities going up, prices of lumber. So people are also getting in tune with this aspect of life too, but it's very important. And I think that we should, all of us should get back to it some type of way.
Yes.
If it's not you, somebody in your family, or we should all be connected to a farmer.
We should be able to go to at least one family member's house and eat something that they grew in their backyard.
I agree.
Get back to it a little bit. Like
That's
my great-grandfather down in South Carolina had a huge farm in the back of their house. I mean, he used to grow watermelons and cabbage and all of that stuff. I mean, I never was able to see it, but I heard the stories from my father, my parents. So to have that skill, not too far removed from myself, my father knew how to do it, but he didn't teach it to us, kind of stopped because things started to become more modernized, you know what I mean? But that's a skill that you should continue to teach to your children as time goes on and on and on. But luckily we have the willpower and the conscience to go out and learn if we wanted to.
That's right. That's right.
So just moving a little bit forward, I have one more question for you two. Can you both share a personal life-changing event that occurred while on this journey? If you want to tap into that space and share that with myself and the viewers.
While on just like the journey, on this journey being in nature, like has anything occurred that was life-changing for you? I mean, it might take a second to think about it a little bit. I would say meeting him.
Aww.
Yeah, I would say building.
Look, you making me blush.
I would say, that's been my greatest gift is, growing together and going on adventures together with you. Even within our relationship, that's when we go outdoors, we're able to heal static that comes up in our relationship. So I think just being on this journey with you, and having nature be like the foundation of our relationship has been life-changing. I'm gonna cry.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Yeah. That is so beautiful. What about you? Any life-changing events that happened on this journey?
I always say definitely, and just giving that back, receiving and giving that back. But just to be a little more specific with it, the camping. Like the camping times when we camp, like
you guys one time, camp too.
Yeah,
ooh, okay.
Yeah. So when we camp, so when we camped, like and we still got the pictures from one of the first times we camped. But it was definitely a beautiful, life-changing experience. I always say I'll never forget that time too, because we was out there. It was me and her, and we also had it was another couple with us. But it was mainly me and her. We had our own time, but it's just like I always say, like I can't really fully explain it. You gotta kind of just be there and do there, but just going there, just seeing the waterfalls, going to one of the biggest waterfalls in New Jersey on the East Coast rather than under than Niagara Falls. Right here in Jersey, it's called Buttermilk Falls.
Okay. Oh yeah, and when you're done, can you just share some great places that people can go hiking? Yeah.
So go in there and just seeing the waterfalls, the cabins. Not the cabin, the lean-to, just like a mini cabin. Just being in nature, just around just with the elements. We lighting the fire, we around the earth, we breathing in air, a natural exchange between the trees and us. And the water's there. So it was a beautiful experience. Words can't explain. We jumped in the water, it was like a little river dip. Like a waterfall dip. We jumped in the water. We don't even know if you were supposed to do it, but we did it. It was beautiful. Just seeing, just out there with her, and just out there with her alone, and just on the nature, on nature. I think that would be a life-changing experience for anybody or any couple if they go and do that.
Nice. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So can you share some great hiking places that people can go if they ever come to Jersey or visit Jersey? Where are some great hiking
Sure. You want to say something?
Yeah, I like Oshawa Preserve is really nice. It's very lush and green. There's also water there.
Oshawa Preserve, that's ASPHAWA Preserve.
Yeah, and I would also say, we live in northern New Jersey. For folks that live in Essex County that might be unable to travel because of transportation or things like that, South Mountain Reservation is a gem. I grew up literally in Newark right next to South Mountain and didn't know there was a waterfall there until my adulthood. So I think that one. And what's the name of the one that we went to, the last one with all the water, with the black water?
Hacklebarney.
Yeah,
Hacklebarney State Forest. That's in Chester, New Jersey. There's another one called, one of my favorite spots is, that's where we went for the men's hike, is Northern Green State Forest. Northern Green State Forest. You got Ramapo State Forest. That's near Passaic. If you in metro area, like Route 22, and you kind of a little more urban, Watchung Preservation is a nice one, and it's not too far from stores and all of that. Eagle Rock Reservation, that's in West Orange. That's a nice one, and it's you can see the 9/11 memorial from there too. You can see New York, and also it has a forest. You can get it's deep. I thought it was just simple. I almost did too. I was like, whoa, Eagle Rock really gets deep. Okay, you got not Branchburg, Weequahic Park got some stuff. They got not really. It's like a big lake, but it's a trail you could go around. What else? Bass River State Forest. We hiked down there. One of our favorite spots, Stoke State Forest, up there in up northern Jersey, 80 West, all the way up.
If you want to go camping, Bass River and Stokes are great places to go camping. Yeah. If you're not comfortable with tent camping and you want a tiny bit of luxury, they do have cabins, and they have lean-tos, which are half a cabin. It's like a little shack. So those are nice.
And if you get your tent, you can always tent up in your own area. Tent up, bring your tent there. So it's a lot of spots. A lot of spots. We just gave you a few. There's more y'all could check out. So definitely.
Wonderful. And can you just let the audience know how they can reach you if they want to join your events and your group hiking?
We got our own site, www.negrowsbynature.com. Instagram, Negrows by Nature. Email us, negrowsbynature@gmail.com. We do hikes once a month. We're going to be posting another one coming up pretty soon. So just stick with us, stay connected. We are here. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. Negrows by Nature. We have a farmer here. You guys are going out into nature and becoming one with Mother Earth, encouraging our fellow Black people to do the same.
You gotta come with us.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna come. I'm gonna come. I don't like the bugs and stuff. That's the only aspect of nature I don't like. But I'm with everything else. But thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. It has been another wonderful episode of Alchemy of Thought. I'm your host, Tisha Monet, and I was joined here today by Negroes in Nature. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.